Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Wow. This is such a nice conversation to, officially press record on. Evelyn here has come from Melbourne and we're sitting in Glenoma Park in Cairns. Myself, of course, I'm Emily. If we haven't met yet, I'm the director of Ecstatic Dance Far North Queensland. And Evelyn is going to be our DJ, songstress, selectress this Friday at Dance.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been talking already for previous 20 minutes, and we had a very long phone chat, several weeks ago. We could talk for hours about these things.
Hours.
And I wanted to have this opportunity to speak to Evelyn as a very experienced five rhythms practitioner, teacher, dancer, freestyle dance, and I'll get her to explain more about that. But this opportunity for her to share with us as a community here in Cairns about the benefits of these practices that we're doing. And just to explain on a quick note of myself, I have a movement and freestyle movement background now of almost 12 years really, and I have experienced five rhythms. Although ecstatic dance, it was a space and the practice that called me to obviously be crazily devoted to. And what I see as the strength of what all of these freestyle movement practices brings to our communities is actually something still very new to North Queensland, to far North Queensland. It is very new. Evelyn, coming from Melbourne, the community is very established with these spaces and dance practices down there. So, on that note, I'll open it to Evelyn and potentially throw it back to, lean back to what we were actually just saying. And we said, this is just so good, we need to start it from here. It was actually about the word dance. And how as a culture, you were saying, we say that word and some of us are fearful to come and experience dance. Five rhythms dance, ecstatic dance.
All forms of dance, I guess. Yeah, it's a pretty loaded, thank you for your introduction, Emily, and it's really exciting for me to be up here and to share this work and to have this opportunity. So dance has been a massive part of my life. It's actually, movement and dance is my language. I find it difficult sometimes to actually use words.
We can talk a lot about the good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a very early age, dance has always been my expression. Like even before I was trained as a ballet dancer or contemporary dancer, I would just do free-form dance performances for my parents if they had a dinner party and friends would come around. So clearly as a little person I felt music and I really connected to the language of movement. So I guess, yes, the word dance, there's a lot to that word because I find sometimes after many years of, actually being a trained dancer and having to, train my body and have steps and then to actually remove all that when I trained as a dance movement therapist in Melbourne. And to me it was like my teacher Marsha Leventhal, who's from America, who started that model. And I do like to honour all my teachers because that's kind of all the amazing gifts and tools that I've had the opportunity to learn and have in my life. And it comes through all the work I do, all the teachers I've had. So in that, I had to unlearn the dance, unlearn the trained dance. And that was a really interesting process. So I do understand what it is to have structured dance and then to actually not have dance and trust the body and to trust that we have our own internal dance and that comes from a really deep place. So often if I try to describe to people that have never done 5 rhythms before or have never been in a space of using movement as a form of practice, as a form of medicine, that there's that word dance that comes up. And it's a little triggering sometimes. It can be confronting for people. So I really like to educate the fact that dance is something that we can it's a word of celebration, I guess. To me, it is like the ritual. So if we go back to ancient cultures, they use dance as a form of ritual to celebrate all sorts of things. You know, good harvest, or a change of season, or you know, going off to some sort of a battle, or warriors going out,
or grief, or loss, or heartbreak. All these things get together to dance, to dance,
and to actually move the energy of what it is. So I guess in ancient times and other cultures, dance has a different connotation. It is a celebration, and I guess in our modern world, if we've gone to, you know, dance class as a little kid and then found out that our toes didn't point perfectly in ballet, that there's maybe a little bit of a you're not good enough kind of feel to that, or there's that experience of that really didn't feel right, and I move away from that. So I guess,
could I share a personal experience?
Yes.
In relation to that, because I didn't grow up at all connected to movement or to dance. I had that feeling as a teenager and a child, like, dance, it's ballet, I can't do that. And it wasn't until I found freestyle movement practices and I stumbled in, well, firstly to the type of music. I'm not going to go into that whole story, but a lot of the music that is played in conscious movement practices, practice spaces, is what originally sort of hooked me in. And then I ended up finding myself on the dance floor. But going there and discovering still, even in those first, even like couple of years, that dance wasn't how I thought it to be culturally, that I had to look a certain way, that, I had to have XYZ strength, or that I had to be a certain age, or it had to be a certain type of music. It really showed itself to me in the few years of then exploring different movement practices, that dance was this, as we were saying earlier, this endless array of possibility. And I love how you just shared, cultures and times before and peoples before, using it as a celebration. I really feel that what we are doing in these somatic freestyle dance practices is that we're bringing back that celebration to the celebration to movement. That it's not a competition, that it's not somewhere to get to.
That's so true.
And it's
so true.
And it's something like, actually, I get goosebumps.
I know.
It's something
so exciting.
The
possibilities are endless, and that's where also there's no right or wrong in that space. So, really quickly kind of debunking this thing of this is a dance class, because there's an expectation to that. In our culture, I guess, and also, I can't dance if I'm, not relaxed enough, or there's a few roadblocks in that way of actually getting onto a dance floor and understanding that there's a space there that we can create an ecstatic dance in 5 rhythms, all the other modalities, open floor, dancing freedom, the things that have, slowly growing in this, in our society as conscious movement and around the world, that it's a space where you are actually finding your own dance, and that is purely a prescription for yourself. So then the expectation's gone, the judgment is gone, and you're actually doing that movement medicine is really unique in that way of celebration. Like, we can celebrate certain times that we're going through. So I guess we're linking society to our dance, if you can bring that invitation in. But from a beginning place, it's really about finding your own dance. And I guess dance, the word dance, we just, there's many options. We can, create that option, possibilities. So
Yes.
it's a big one for people. So just allowing the freedom of finding your own dance. And I think that has been a process for me over like many years, 25 years, but also witnessing people hit the dance floor and realize, you see their eyes light up. It's like, oh, there's no expectation of me.
Yes.
I'm in my own experience here. Yeah. I'm feeling this joy, or I'm feeling the sadness. I'm feeling
tired.
Grief, whatever it is you're moving at.
I'm feeling lazy.
Yeah.
You can. That's also something. I do hear, we were sharing earlier about people sort of the things that people say that we experience when we explain to them about dance. And I even have friends that say, "Oh, I'm too tired to come to this dance." And I said, "Hey, remember, it's ecstatic dance. You can do and feel whatever you like.
That's
right.
right.
So you don't have to come if you're just in the mood of excitement and ecstaticness.
Right.
You can come in tiredness. You can come with sore feet. Actually, on that regard, we've had a number of people come and sit in the space, bring a little chair, because they want to be in the space of celebration.
Yeah.
Even if you can't move, be there with the music, with community, with celebration.
That's it.
Yeah.
And celebrating whatever it is, and celebration could be celebrating connecting to your grief, celebrating connecting to loss, celebrating connecting to finding or seeking, or all the nuances of what that celebration can be for every individual is very unique. And that's where it's sacred space. It's space that is incredibly potent. And I was thinking about it on the way here, like, we're, as a 5 rhythms teacher, we really do I do often articulate verbally that if you're feeling tired, do your dance of tiredness. If you're feeling energized, great, show that in your dance. If you're feeling like, everyone's in a different place all the time, you cannot imagine or just even assume that everyone's going to be in the same space in a group, so that group dynamic. And then you find the people that are dancing their tiredness, or maybe they're slightly injured, or they're going through something physically, that they might dance past someone on the dance floor that's really in their dance and pumping, and it actually changes your dance. And that's where being in space together influences your internal world and shifts it. Because, I find that movement is a way of, shifting and moving our inner space into our outer world. And we can get locked into our spaces. We can be in our comfort zones. We can be just stuck. And I guess the magic of dancing past someone that is fully in their energy dance, when you're feeling a little tired, a little bit of that rubs off. And then you find that it shifts, and that happens time and time again. So that's where the beauty of a group dynamic. It's different to dancing on your own in the lounge room. You can put our music on and jump around the kitchen and have a release and shake it out. But there's something magical about the group dynamic and really understanding that we're influencing each other, and that's where we get into that realm of the work that I love, and that is understanding that we're not just moving our bones, muscles, cells and blood and water, we're moving our energy field. And I think that that's just that extra layer that to me excites me a lot, because I think unconsciously we influence each other energetically all the time. So in that on the dance floor you sense and you feel more how we can influence our own energy field, and also how that has an effect on others.
How that has an effect on others.
And to be conscious of that is a great tool to have to take off the dance floor and take into the world.
My therapist.
Into the world.
The therapist. Yeah, totally. It's
really?
The therapist of the knowledge from within that can guide our life, and that's why, again, I've seen it as this huge tool from within, as we were saying. The work, these practices empower us from within
Yeah.
to actually change the rest of our lives. And I had no idea of that when I first, started, that it would actually change outside of the dance floor. So
Right.
we come into the
Yeah.
dance floor, we do our work there,
Yeah.
and we can go out.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's so poignant to share these things, because in Far North Queensland, again, we are limited with these spaces, these practices,
Yeah.
and I see them as such a huge benefit to our community here, because I do see exactly what you're saying. I'm also a psychology student. I mean, I've been a somatic psychology practitioner for 12 years, but I'm a psychology student, and I witness and believe that the ability to be more flexible and receptive and more aware of our community on the outside could actually help a lot of us.
Absolutely.
To witness a lot of the sort of, I think, mental confines and sicknesses, depressions that I see in my community. My community.
Yeah.
That also I was once.
Yeah.
I was once.
Yeah.
I was once.
Yeah.
This is what these tools can
actually support.
Help us with.
And they really do. I find that since studying 5 rhythms and being a teacher for, 8 years now, and it's like, a yoga teacher saying, take all these learnings and lessons off the mat and take them into your life. It's the same on the dance floor. The dance floor is a sacred space. The dance floor is a place of real healing, and I think to make that journey really worthwhile, to sustain you, to nourish you, to really inform you in your life, those experiences and understandings on the dance floor, the consciousness of taking that into your world. And in 5 rhythms we talk about the first relationship is to self. So we have to come back to self. We have to find self, center, and then the second relationship on the dance floor is with one other. And then the third level is with tribe, with community. So there's 3 layers to that experience, and you could be experiencing, I know for me, for the first few years of doing 5 rhythms, I was really like, wow, what is going on inside my world here? And then it was like, I really need to open up and then connect and be with maybe one other. And sometimes 5 rhythms talk about, like, there's an instruction, there's a process, there's a formula to, like, turn to the nearest person and do a dance with them. For me, that was quite confronting for years. I was like, no way, I don't want to dance with anyone else. I'm quite happy in my own little world here. But for me, that process was like a part of, like, coming out of myself to connect and to trust and to not, lose myself in that relationship with someone else, because I was holding my own self so tightly. So there was a process to that, and then that became looser and freer and more, I could hold my own dance, be my own person, and share with another and not lose myself. So there was a huge lesson in learning, and I found that lesson related to my relationships in my world, whether it was with family, my children, with beloveds, with partner, that was a prescription, and that was a resource for me. So from my own experience, it's a real thing that can really transform the way you relate in the world, and then beyond that to the greater tribe, the community you live in. So
so beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful. Oh, it's just so enlivening, and I just adore speaking to people who are the embodiment, who cellular being gets this
level.
so that's what I mean. It's so precious to have people like Evelyn here, because for myself and our community, it's so rare to have such experiential wisdom here.
Thank you.
It's so lovely.
It's a pleasure.
And I want to also ask Evelyn, we started our recording a little earlier there, but I do have some questions that I wanted to ask, to share to our community. For those who may not know what we know a little bit further. So the first question is, how do you see, Evelyn, the 5 rhythms culture different to the ecstatic dance culture that you have been a part of in Melbourne?
Yeah, great question. Okay, so I guess there's a few differences, and there's also quite a few crossovers. Okay, so talking maybe firstly about the things that I've noticed that may be different in the fact that, I guess, with 5 rhythms classes, you have trained facilitators. So they've done a rigorous training, they've done many hours of, you have to do a certain amount of hours to even be accepted, to then apply, to then get accepted to do the training.
Yes, it's
rigorous.
Yes,
it's rigorous.
totally.
There's 3 models and modules, and you have to travel overseas. So in that fact that you are really initiated into facilitation, and there is prescribed formulas to a point, invitations and planning of seed and instruction that happens whilst people are dancing. There's also gateways that we also ignite through each of the rhythms. So there's that facilitation, and I guess that's a little different to ecstatic dance in the fact that there are people coming to the dance floor, they're moving. There's definitely the invitation to have that group respect and to, really be sensitive of each other in that space of dance and that beginning. And then I guess mostly the difference is that there's that real deep dance of the music playing with really skilled DJs and that journey of music with less facilitation. So then I guess the outcomes are very similar in that you are creating space for people to be embodied and move to awesome music, which is what we love.
Yeah.
And that there may be less instruction. So the instruction is a key point. And I guess, I feel that each practice draws the people that need to be there and to the level of what they're diving into, but the outcomes of being more free in their bodies, the outcomes of being more grounded or centered, and also the outcome of connection with others, which is building community. I guess that's the similarity there. So with the instruction that you can get from 5 rhythms in a purely 5 rhythms class, where you're going to get great music, teachers that are facilitating, and then these seeds that are dropping in just to elevate that consciousness through your journey a little more. So I guess it's more of a process-driven practice. But Gabrielle Roth really got it right. The woman that created 5 Rhythms in New York, Gabrielle Roth, give her lots of kudos and honouring her teachings that has spread all around. Is that, there's that level of instruction that can really shift your practice, and we call it a practice. It's a moving meditation practice in the fact that we come out of our heads and move into our sensory experience. And I guess there's that little bit of extra process to what a 5 rhythms teacher would say throughout the dance of a 2-hour dance.
Yes, and I do know that from my own experience with 5 rhythms in Melbourne about 10 years ago. And
I guess the community that crosses over between ecstatic dance and 5 rhythms or open floor or dancing freedom is that really the whole business, all the business of conscious movement practice, somatic movement practice, is that you're having people come from society and community into a space that is supported to be a space where people can freely express themselves. And this is a really big thing for me, is that we can create space as a 5 rhythms teacher, or even in ecstatic dance, like you would understand, Emily, in the fact that we have a space where we can be human with all our humanness, and have a space where we can just express it through celebration of dance. And to me that is just, that is very similar links between both modalities. There's a celebration there. So whether it's deeply diving into this conscious like activation through the body parts and some of the instruction that a 5 rhythm teacher would give, whether it's actually setting up a space for that, you know, ritual of dance, which is very much how I feel and see ecstatic dance. You're creating space for people to be in their bodies, and this is the goal.
Yes. Something that just drops in about a potential difference and similarity is, although there is verbal instruction by 5 rhythms facilitators, how I see it as a ecstatic dance DJ is that the music, the particular tracks that we can choose with the instructions in it, you know, the house track with the let go vocals, you know, or the whatever, the instruction to move, the Afro beat, Afro move, you know, he's saying something. And that's my way of communicating, instructing that, you know, and so I really
it's a skill.
like that it is, and I love that it comes through both. But we're doing such a similar thing at the end of the day, but they are different.
They are different and similar and different, and I think the outcome is very similar to how people feel when you talk. Say, share at the end of a session, is that there's these crossovers of what people's experience is, and that's when you're like, oh yeah, this is what movement does. There's it's a global phenomenon, really, what movement and rhythm can do. And I guess there's that skill too in the ecstatic dance of the music being that shamanic process of like shifting things, and there's such skill in that to be the facilitator through the music.
That actually is a good leeway into the second question.
Oh, perfect.
How did you get into the DJing side of things, Evelyn?
Right, great question.
Yes, because she will be DJing for us.
I will be.
You.
And I'm really passionate about music, and I guess music to me, I had a really broad understanding of music studying at the Victorian College of Arts and doing contemporary dance. So, you know, doing all different styles of dance then influenced what style of music I was exposed to. So from classical to like jazz to like, you know, African to all sorts. So embodying all of that just in that training, so opened my world. And then for me it was a journey of, I found electronic music in the mid-90s, and
give thanks. I didn't live in that generation, but my soul does.
And my world.
My friends know that.
You know, in some world you did.
Totally.
And my world at that point just went, what? This is amazing. And because it was always live music for my journey of music, go and see live bands in Melbourne, and then I got into electronic music and listening, and then into electronic festivals and lifestyle festivals, and just understanding how much the repetitive beat and that trance-like space could really, and also, you know, dancing under the stars with your feet on the earth, and that for many years for me was very informative, and really just taught me so much about not only myself but like tribe, and how that trance beat can really, you know, bring people together. So then there was that passion coming from that experience, and then I was like, did my 5 rhythms training, and we were presented with the software that we were using, and it's unanimous around the world with all 5 rhythms teachers. And so learning that program, which was a straight up DJ program, I was like, oh, finally I get to learn this skill. And it was clunky for me in the beginning, because it's like, I guess like anything, if you get handed a guitar and you've got to learn to play the guitar, it's going to be clunky in the beginning. And my ideal was like, I just want to be like Jimi Hendrix, where the actual guitar is just part of his body. There's no differentiation. So it was a process of like understanding this new tool, and the joy of sitting and finding music and being stimulated by music, and curating journeys of music that I felt would be a real journey for people on the dance floor. So DJing came to me through really being a five rhythms teacher, and then, you know, learning the technical side of that program and being comfortable with it becoming a bit more second nature. Then, you know, finding my own style with that. And then I guess you start getting feedback from people that are hearing what you're playing, and you think, okay, well, I'm on the right path here. So that has been how I got into DJing, and then I guess I had to get to a certain level of skill to also be invited to DJ at Ecstatic Dance in Melbourne. And that was, you know, for me, that was a real milestone in my journey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And just so grateful for that opportunity. Because, you know, there is a definite skill to that, sitting in that space of, like being a sound shaman, to actually invoke those experiences through music and rhythm. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that journey. And as I said, thank you, and honouring and recognising what it takes to get to those places and those points. Because, again, as a woman myself that... just loved the dance floor and loved the music and started collecting, and then realised, how powerful technology is. A computer and a whipbird, I think. Is that a whipbird?
Is to dance, to learn this technology, to be able to do this, was, beside the dance, as it is the dance, it was one of the most powerful things that I have done, and I give a lot of thanks for technology that allows us to create that, and that's a whole other conversation.
I know, it's really empowering though to actually learn that and realise that there's, like, it is an artistry, it's a real artistry, and how people respond to that. It's quite an empowering place to be, and I really give reverence and respect to that, because I don't take it lightly, and to me it's so sacred. So and it's really, really can, the power of rhythm and the power of even a beautiful soft melody or something that really evokes some emotion can really shift a dance floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, it just comes to mind, considering you play at Ecstatic Dance Melbourne, the experiences that I've had with Madhu and with Ben in Bali.
Yes.
I'm here because of them.
Right.
Many people, but the experiences that you're just talking about. Yeah. You know, the right selection, the right moment, the right words. Yeah. In my younger days, they were some incredibly profound experiences, and still are for all the people that they serve. So,
and they're still in you, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't lose that.
No.
It's like something opens.
Creates us.
It does. It really does.
It has created, those experiences have created us, and that's why we take it so seriously, as you said, and cry over the challenge that it is, and the frustrations, and oh gosh.
And I do still feel like such a novice. Like, I feel like I've got my L plates on. And but that's exciting for me, because, you know, it's the dance. And it's also like this process of evolving for my own self, and like learning a new skill, and learning to really master a skill. I love the challenge, and it has been challenging, but also the benefits and the repercussions and what comes back is so potent that, you know, I guess if you find your passion and you find what moves you, and then somehow it moves others, it's like this beautiful exchange. So it's been that process. It has really been, because I haven't trusted myself within that. I know that I love music. I know that I've got good taste in music, and then it's like, how do you blend all of that into this space? But it's not until you start hearing, oh, that was a really good set, and do you record these things, and blah, 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 that you get that feedback, that trust in your own process can really happen. And that's, there's a turning point, I guess, in that learning process.
Yes, for sure. And a point of differentiation, I would say, between dancer and then stepping into the world of DJing. Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. Yeah,
feet in both spaces.
Yes, totally. But I guess that takes us on to the next question perfectly too, is then what is your take or explanation of how different rhythms, tempos, and speeds help us therapeutically in dance? How does this perhaps differ to dance culture traditional of the same tempo in, say, clubs or festival sets? And just to explain for people, in festivals or specifically clubs, they're a same tempo. You might go to a house club and it will be the same tempo for an hour or 5 hours.
Yeah.
It will be the same tempo. So, just asking Evelyn about how she sees or would like to explain the why or how different rhythms are used in 5 rhythms and also in ecstatic dance, DJing, and the benefits of those.
That's a great question, because I think that really is the difference between if you are in that repetitive kind of set mode, like if you're a progressive tech DJ, you really sit in the same beats per minute. And it wasn't until I started getting friends inviting me to parties to do DJ sets, and I realised this is really easy because I'm sitting in this range that I can just get into, and I relax, and I'm like, okay, but I guess I've had the hard yards because as a 5 rhythms teacher, and I guess also in ecstatic dance, but I'll talk more from my perspective from 5 rhythms, is that journey really is it's like I describe it sometimes as I'm a pilot in an aeroplane, right? I'm really taking off at this level that eases people into their movement, and then we build it up and then really let it go at the peak, like at the 3rd rhythm of chaos. Because the first rhythm is flow, and then staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. So with each of those rhythms, there is really a prescribed choice of music that you would layer and add to. And for me, the music is the gateway to how we're opening in the body, but also in our energy field. And, certain beats per minute activate parts of your body. So in that training as a 5 rhythms facilitator, learning to start at, say, for example, 75 beats per minute, just for a technical term, but then building all the way up to, say, even 128 beats per minute, and then landing it. It was really like taking off on a plane, cruising at 30,000 feet, and then, you got to land gently. So there's a skill to that mixing, and there's a skill to the choice. And so in answer to the question, how does that influence us in our practice, and how does it influence our bodies? I think that is the formula that we, that is the layer that not only with dance, with intention and instruction, but with the rhythm that we offer, there's parts of the body that really respond to that. So from a vibrational sense, and I guess, that kind of gentleness and that really deep bassy part, that's really lower in the body. And we think about the fact that bass is really base chakra. You're really moving through these rhythms and energy levels in the body as well. So they trigger those parts, and you're kind of moving up through the body and then landing it. So I really see that rhythm and the tempo is very influential in how people are moving their bodies. And I see that time and time again, because yes, in a club you get into that repetitive trance, but it sits you there, and it sits you there for a long time. So I guess as ecstatic dance DJs and 5 rhythms facilitators, there's that kind of journey that is almost like I see it from the feet up. We move from the feet up and through, and that is definitely influenced by tempo and rhythm and how that responds internally to our bodies.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm just feeling myself that's such a big topic that, again, in its own, that I can talk about and geek out about all day. That is, I think I really need to do something on that one time to talk about that. That is such
it's a big one.
That's a really
big
topic.
And where you sit in the room, even like where you are in relation to speakers.
Yes.
You know, how that hits the body.
Yeah.
And whether you're close to the speaker or away from the speaker, like we are influenced by vibration.
Volume.
We're water,
volume.
so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could go on for
good.
hours.
Yeah, totally, so good. Well, great. Well, then on the regards of music, my fourth question is, what musical tastes can we expect at Dance With You on Friday?
Oh, how exciting.
And I guess you've shared some of the things that you kind of already love. Maybe you'll be playing some of those. But what can we expect in your set on Friday?
Well, I think on Friday, like for me, I love like a deep rhythm that is always there at the base. And I love the fact that tribal rhythms can really evoke a deep dance. So that's something that I love, and I think people respond to as well. So the journey for me for Ecstatic Dance on Friday in Cairns, which is very exciting, will be evoking an opportunity to like really touch into your body. So for me, there's a lot of different styles that I work with, obviously as a 5 rhythms teacher, but understanding that there's these levels that especially in a like nearly 2-hour set or an hour and a half, however long that goes, is that you also don't want to exhaust people and keep people in a high level, that there's that stepping up process to how we reach those ecstatic levels. And that's tiraded really through, for me, the music that I love is really full of beat and nice bass, but there's these melodies that come on top. So I will be using, like, there's a lot of beautiful, like, not even classical music to begin with, but like world beat music, and you know, some funky tunes to get people loose and having fun, and then getting to a place of really getting into that trance ecstatic place, which, you know, I even throw in, because I love psytrance. I love a little bit of psytrance in there.
It goes right, dropped here and there around here for sure. It's North Queensland after all.
I thought that would be appreciated. So definitely there'll be a feeling of like a driving beat to the work, to the dance on Friday, and also enough space to have those nuances to feel into other parts of the body that are going to be, you know, your arms, your legs, everything moving, not just stepping in one place with the beat. So hopefully that really comes through, and that people have this real journey with that music. And I guess that's how I also teach in 5 rhythms and give an opportunity for different bodies and different people to connect to what's happening on the dance floor. Not just one bass.
Yes. Nice one, Miss DJ. Great. And lastly, we know that you're sharing a taster into 5 rhythms, into the 5 rhythms practice on Friday for our warm-up. Is there anything that you wanted to share to close regarding that? And obviously, if people are regular to the space, we do have a drop-in optional warm-up space from 7 p.m. for half an hour, you know, these days. So Evelyn's going to be sharing the 5 rhythms practice.
I'm excited.
Is there anything to share about that? I know you did say to me on the phone a few weeks ago how difficult it is to share in half an hour about something that you do in 2 hours and 10 years, you know, but
and the journey of.
We have 30 minutes for now, and hope certainly to see Evelyn again when she comes up to the north.
Absolutely. I would love that opportunity. So I guess in that 30 minutes, what I'd really love to drop in and just offer the community is a little taster of how we move into different parts of the body, and each rhythm really has a connection to different parts of the body. So there's like 5 rhythms and there's 5 gateways, and so with flow it's the feet, staccato, it's the hips and the pelvic area. I'll talk about how the elements are influenced in those different parts as well, and the different rhythms. And then chaos is really like letting go of the head and just releasing. And then we have lyrical, which is that creative space of following the hands. So we have the feet, the hips, the head, the hands, and then the gateway for stillness is the breath. So really trusting. It's almost like that part of Shavasana in a yoga class where you're just like so embodied that you're moving energy, you're moving your body. So in 30 minutes, I will offer an insight, like just a little seed,
Yes.
a little seed of what those parts are and how we can focus our mind on the different body parts that activate those, and we'll hopefully do that in about 20-30 minutes. And I'm really excited about offering that to the community because I feel that Emily has created this amazing community over 4 years and really worked really hard to create a space for conscious movement, and it's exciting to drop in just another modality which really complements. So that's exciting.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's such an honour and delight to finally be at this stage as a community where people are receptive to that. Again, I always left Cairns, having grown up here, to travel and connect to these practices, and we can finally have a space. We have a space where we can have beautiful teachers that come from interstate, from overseas, and of course our local developing teachers and students of many somatic practices that still do also have to go away to do those things, but are coming to share with our community. That is just such a deep joy, and that's the deeper work that this space really offers for us to continue to deepen in what freestyle movement practices can provide our body, mind, our community, and so forth. So I'm grateful, and I'm really excited that this is the first time, but again, I would really love the opportunity and love everybody to take up that opportunity and to continue to support this very special opportunities that it is to have teachers like yourself, other DJs that are very experienced as well, because it's very, very special opportunities in Cairns to have wisdom. Oh, there's a Ulysses butterfly.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Oh, there we got a Ulysses butterfly.
Wish you could have seen that. That was amazing. Blue. It's really it will be a gentle introduction to the process of what 5 rhythms can offer, and hopefully that will enrich your dance into the ecstatic dance process as well. And it's I'm really grateful to be here, and thank you. Thank you, Emily.
It's so great. It's so enlivening. I know. I can breathe.
I'm very excited, and you'll get a good dance.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yes. Always. Got to make the most of everything. That's the dance,
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll leave it at that. And I really love this amazing long interview that we've done. 45 minutes is fantastic. This is a really deep dive. And we'll see you on Friday.
See you on Friday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.